Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Unju, your friendly neighborhood nurse with a caffeine addiction. Today we're tackling a topic that's heavy but super important: dementia. Now, this is personal for me because my dad has dementia. Yep, we've been riding the dementia roller coaster for about a year now. It's not the fun kind of cotton candy and souvenir photos, but the kind of where you're holding on for dear life. It's tough, but what's helped me is learning all I can about it. And I want to share that with you today. So grab your coffee, tea, or maybe some snack, because learning is always better with snacks, right? And let's dive into the latest research, surprising findings, and ways to keep your brain in tip-top shape. Now, let's start with the basics. What even is dementia? Well, think of it as an umbrella term for the group of symptoms that mess with your memory, thinking, and social abilities. It's not just forgetting where you left your keys. We all do that. Dementia means these issues interfere with daily life in a big way. Alzheimer's is the most common type, but there are others: vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, and my personal favorite to pronounce is frontotemporal dementia. Now say that 3 times fast. The latter two is not as prevalent as the first two, like Alzheimer's. Here's a sobering stat. Nearly 10% of people over 65 in the US have some form of dementia. And by 2050, the number is expected to triple. That's 1 in 3 seniors. So if you're watching this with 2 friends, well, yikes. But don't panic. Knowing the risk factors now means we can take action to lower our risk. And let's dig into some fresh off the press research. A study by RAND analyzed data from over 20,000 people in the health and retirement study. These folks have been tracked since the early 1990s. Talk about commitment from the researchers all the way to the participants of the study. These researchers looked at health factors and even predicted dementia risk years into the future. This isn't just a crystal ball stuff, it's science backed by data. And some of the results, they'll make you go, wait, what? Here we go. The good, the bad, and the surprising. All right, let's talk about the top predictors of dementia. Some make sense and others are, well, kind of unexpected. One is poor physical health, and that should make sense to everyone. Your body and your brain are like best friends. When your body's struggling, your brain feels it too. So yes, doing that Zumba classes helps your brain, and if you're just there for the funky beats. And also, stroke, history of stroke. A stroke damages the brain and then can lead to cognitive decline. Think of it like your brain saying, hey, I'm fragile here. And also not having private health insurance at 60. This one surprised me as well. Less access to healthcare might mean untreated conditions that increases risk. Basically, healthcare matters, folks. And that makes sense, right? Without health insurance, you might not go to the hospital for these symptoms that may be suspicious. Because of that, healthcare insurance or having it really is important to reduce the risk for dementia. And that means taking care of your body and your brain in terms of not having the chronic conditions like high blood pressure, which is the #1 risk factor for stroke, and entirely preventable with medication or lifestyle changes. All right, this one totally blew my mind. Who would have guessed that little work experience also is a risk factor? Staying mentally engaged at work can protect your brain. So that office drama, maybe it's good for you. Or maybe not at all. Interesting about little work experience, we all know that with dementia, one of the things to prevent dementia in the future is to keep your mind active. And if you think about it, your work allows you to do that. You have the social connections, you have to solve different challenges. And I think the next one really makes sense, and it's been in the news all the time. And that's diabetes and high body mass index. So managing your weight and blood sugar, not just about fitting into jeans or looking better, it's about brain health too. Also, not enough physical exercise or never exercising. Shocker, right? Move it or lose it, people. Even a brisk walk counts. And I can't stress that, the importance of that. Low physical test scores. Well, what are those? Well, like things like little grip strength and balance are indicators of overall health. So time to crush those hand grippers. A little wine might be fine, but binge drinking, that's a big no for dementia and your liver as well. And also not having hobbies. Your brain loves challenges. So pick up that guitar, learn to knit, or tackle a Rubik's Cube. Those kids doing Rubik's Cubes while juggling, have you seen them? They're at a different level. And as for me, knitting was a no-go. How about you? What are your favorite hobbies? Now, some factors might sound scary, but aren't as predictive as you might think. So these are not as strong predictors as the list that we just went over. First one is your parental health. Just because your parents had dementia or have dementia doesn't mean you're doomed. And also family size. Having one sibling or 6 doesn't really matter. Thank goodness, because I have 3 siblings and I'm glad this one is a weak predictor. And also marital status. They looked at that as well. Married, divorced, or single, your brain doesn't really care. Thank goodness, right? With the divorce rate about 50%. So if you were blaming your sibling count for your memory lapses, sorry, you're on your own there. Now, the million-dollar question. What can we do? Here are some brain boosting tips. Exercise, and I feel this is really important. I do Muay Thai. It's part workout for me and part therapy, and let's face it, part ninja fantasy. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip of me doing Muay Thai. Now, those of you into Muay Thai training, comment why you like it, or for that matter, any exercise you choose to do. Why is it your favorite? And why do you stick with it? Because I think it's an important factor in why we choose to do one sport over another, and that's passion for that sport. Also, eat smart. A balanced diet with omega-3 is your brain's best friend. Fruits and vegetables are also great, but note some fruits have a lot of sugar, and those of you who have diabetes or are pre-diabetic like myself, we need to be careful about our fruit intake. Believe you and me, I'm a fruit lover, and it was really hard to cut down. So, challenge yourself. Learn something new, whether it's French, Spanish, or how to fold fitted sheets. Still a mystery to me. Sleep is so important at every level. Your brain needs to rest to reboot. So prioritize those C's. Socialize, hang out with people who make you laugh. It's like a workout for your soul. But hang out with people that won't stress you out, because then that would be really counterintuitive, right? Now, living with dementia, either personally or through a loved one, is hard. My dad's journey has taught me so much about resilience and the importance of brain research. Now, I hope this video gives you some insights and tools for preventing dementia and your own journey. Now, before we close this video, I wanted to go back and talk about the actual study itself, because I can see where, if we're going through the list of the risk factors, that many of us would be alarmed, because a lot of things on the list we just do. We're thinking we're going to be developing dementia. And that may not be the case, because with this study done by RAND, when we look at these risk factors, it's not really about causation, meaning that not one of these factors causes dementia. What they looked at is these factors and the 20,000 participants in this study. They looked at outcomes such as whether their BMI, whether that was high, also things like poor physical health. Those are things that they wanted to see whether those outcomes were predictive, and predictions are statistical formulas that allow you this type of research. It really means that there was a strong association between the people who did get dementia. They looked at these factors. For example, those who had dementia appeared to have a higher body mass index, and those who didn't had a normal body mass index. And that's all it means. It doesn't mean that because your BMI is high that you're going to develop dementia. So if you look at these factors such as history of stroke, that's well known that because of a stroke or some cardiovascular disease, people who have those conditions will later on, they're at higher risk for developing vascular dementia. And that's what my dad has. Or never exercising. It just means that the people who develop dementia tend to be those people who reported that they did not exercise. But not exercising in itself does not mean that it causes dementia. We really don't know what the exact mechanism or source that causes dementia. What we do know that based on the study and the reporting of 20,000 participants is that there are some outcomes, some factors that appear to be a stronger link with those who have dementia. And that's what this study was saying. Risk factors like diabetes or BMI for dementia is also a risk factor for other things. So not having diabetes or preventing diabetes or controlling diabetes and having a more healthy weight will help in the long run. So that's what the study was saying. It doesn't give you an exact answer in terms of what causes dementia, but we could look at these factors and say, well, if you have these risk factors, then you are higher risk for developing some form of dementia. And the most common form is Alzheimer's disease. Thanks everyone for watching. Now take care of yourselves and your amazing brain. Until next time, stay curious and stay kind. Bye, everyone. It's so important as we grow older for us to move and have that flexibility and agility. So when we talk about squats, one of the things we can do over time is to be able to sit on the floor with your heels down, legs wide open. Let me show you. So a squat looks like this. I know in the beginning when you start, your heels may lift up, and that's okay. So you might have to take your legs wide, even wider. Now from here, the idea is be able to lift yourself up and then squat down. Really important. And you could do this maybe 5 times every day and increase that flexibility to be able to pick up something heavy and also place it down like on the table without compromising your back. So this is one way to keep your body and get that physical exercise, keep it moving, and a simple thing you can do.